there's the thing. That's what it does. It pauses, and I've never noticed that. All right, it says live videos starting, but really it's already started. And I'm already here. It's already said, perhaps you'd like to end the live video and create another event. I don't think so, Tim. All right, here we are. And I'm early for a reason, she said, trying to think of it. And I'm just, pardon me for a second, because we are a little bit early, and that gives me time to adjust my boa, darling, and go here, oops, no, not that, go here, and refresh so that I can be part of this whole thing. Yes, there we are, okay. And then I mute me on this other screen. And there we are. And now I can see, so I'm just going to type very quickly. Hi, everyone. We're live. Woohoo! All right. Too low FPS. Aren't you the cutest thing? All right, here we go. Today, I'm not talking about fame. She said, holding up the fame book. I'm not talking about fame. I'm talking about the back cover of, okay, fame. I'm talking about the back cover. See that? See that? That is all the people in the book. That's the people who made this book possible, with all the amazing photos and stuff that we talked about. Everybody who was interviewed, who took part, who made the book possible, is on the back cover. Fame is on the front cover. There are pictures inside, along with the content that they created with me. And the reason I'm telling you that is I have a new strategy. And the reason I want to talk about this strategy, the reason I want to do that is because we're coming to the end of January. Yay. And Mother Nature is leaving with all the grace and dignity that she can muster, because it's minus everything. And really the reason I'm wearing my feather boa is because it's the warmest thing I own. So I remembered today to turn on the on-air sign. And I remembered today to think about why this whole exercise appears to be something that is just kind of organically growing, and Abby's trying to figure out where the front is so that she can face that way, and to a certain extent that's true. What I'm also doing, though, is developing a concept that can work for all of us. I was having this really lovely chat the other day with my friend David, who was living in New Mexico and now lives in Tennessee, and I don't know whether that's working better for him or not. Oh well, we parked the boat. And then last night I had a chance to chat with Jeremy, the troublemaker who keeps telling me that I should sing, not realizing the damage and fear that can monger. And I have always said things like, I've pretty much done things myself. I've pretty much been the captain of the ship, and I've wondered why people weren't. I have to stop dithering around here. I'm sorry. I apologize. I have to stop wondering why people don't see what I'm doing and grasp that it's a plan and that I have a direction that I intend to be going. And it takes me a long time because I'm busy. I'm trying not to run off the cliff down to where the alligators are. It takes me a long time to realize that many of the people that I meet have learned a completely different set of rules, and they're living by those rules. And I, can understand why what I'm saying is something they can't hear. And it's because we're on different frequencies. Oh, so if we're on different frequencies, then the only way I can fix that problem is by finding their channel. Fortunately, Vikings were navigators first. Poets, too. And if anybody can find a channel, it's going to be me, because that's what I've learned to do. So, January is coming to an end, and everyone who made resolutions forgot them. And now they're feeling terrible about it. And they're grumpy. And a lot of people who have some serious issues are feeling overwhelmed. And I don't blame them. I feel overwhelmed also. I attack overwhelm differently. It doesn't mean that my way is right. It means that it's the way that I learn to do. And I'm gradually growing and seeing that I have different opportunities and different possibilities. And, you know, that's good. This is what we need to do. So, I'm dithering because I'm looking at the clock. It's 9:57. It means that people who think they're earlier are not on yet. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, human beings of all descriptions, once upon a time, a long time ago, there was a king who had a beautiful daughter, the princess. Those were the stories my dad used to tell when I was in bed. He would begin every story that way. And it made me feel very special. And sometimes he would then follow that with a life hack, an aha moment story that I wouldn't really understand because I was, I don't know, 7, 5, 3, 11, who knows. And one of the most interesting stories my dad told me a long, long time ago was that we never realize while we're in the picture, while we're tap dancing as fast as we can, that other people are dancing differently. Other people don't hear the same music we do. Other people are really quite happy as spectators watching the dance from the sidelines. And I said, really? Yes. And the thing is that we need those people on the sidelines to help us steer our course. When we're rowing as fast as we can, and they say, look out, look out, look out, look up, duck, duck, it's good to listen, because they see the world differently than we do. And I will remember those things from time to time, and I will say, oh yeah, that's right, that's what my dad used to say. My dad also used to say, every class in school we've ever attended, there was always someone who graduated at the bottom of the class. Right? Okay, so they're your age. So they're in charge of something now. And maybe they got there by attrition. and I would say, oh, so you mean the person in charge may not know what they're doing? And he would smile and nod from a great height. Many times they don't know what they're doing. They're just tap dancing as fast as they can. So along the way, I've asked people to join me on my quest to get from here all the way over to the other side. And some of them have said yes, and then showed up dressed like they thought it was a cruise, and acted like it. And I said, no, no, this is a working boat. We get in, and we row as fast as we can. And then they've said, oh, no, that's not what I signed on for. And they get off. Or they just sit there until they're booted off. And these are aha moments that happen all the time around us. The people who are with us may not be with us in spirit. They may be with us because they happen to be standing next to us. That's all. And they think we're colorful because, oh, feather boa. And they say, oh, that Abby, she's just so entertaining, you just never know what she's going to do next. Okay, but the reason I'm flailing and laughing and screaming is because I might be drowning. And they say, oh, there she goes under again. So I've learned that I need to formulate my plan, look at what I think could go wrong after I've said, well, how hard can that be really? And then come up with a way to explain it that makes sense to the rest of you. Not that I'm above, it's just that I was here first, and I'm looking at the big picture. So, today is the 27th of January, where I am. I know that in parts of the world where you are, it's the day before or the day after or whatever. As we do this process together moving forward, I'm launching a conversation, and I'm launching it on several platforms at the same time, because we all have different ways that we like to hear what people are saying. And if I can tune in on your frequency, you can hear me more clearly. You can decide to follow along or change the channel, because what was that? All up to you. So, I'm going to do a book. I'm going to do a new book. But I'm not going to do it alone. It's going to be a group book. And the idea struck me yesterday, and I laughed and laughed, and then I thought about it longer, and I smiled and smiled. And I slept on it, and I woke up this morning and I said, yeah. It needs to be a book. It needs to be a book to begin with, and people need to see the process unfold so that they can decide that they want to be part of the plan. Okay? So yesterday I found one of those crazy things that was clearly one of those autocorrect situations a million years ago. It was a list of washing instructions. And it said, cold water, no iron, no coleslaw. People are looking at it going, what? And I laughed and I said, yeah, you know, it never gets old. Okay. Instructions on washing an item are a hack. They're teaching you, they're giving you a shortcut on the best way to do this. And for those of us who read instructions, it's a big help. So I decided that this book is going to be a life hack concept. Probably recipes, because, of course, why not recipes? And also plans, strategies. Now what? Oh God. And I'm going to ask you to share yours. They don't have to be brilliant. In fact, if they're funny, then that's the kind of brilliant we're really looking for. And when I was chatting back and forth on Messenger with Jeremy last night, I said, my working title is Follow Me for More Life Hacks You Wouldn't Wish on Your Enemy. That's too complicated. So basically, this book is going to be called Get in the Boat, Row Dammit Row, and Other Strategies. And it's a collective book. And everyone who contributes an idea, a recipe, you'll never guess what happened when I do this, train wreck moment, you're going to be in the book. We're going to do your bio. We're going to get your picture. You're going to send me the picture, and we're going to put it on the cover. And I'm going to publish it, because I have this publishing company. And how good is it going to look? It's going to look as fabulous as that. Except that it's not about fame. It's about the game and how we play it. Do you like it? I'm in love with it. So the reason I decided that this was a good time to do this is because this is my 18th show. And when I was 18, my dad sat me down and he said, all right, little one, we have two possibilities. We're going to send you to college and see how that works. And if it doesn't, and I suspect there may be difficulties, we're going to help you find a job, and I'm going to help you find an apartment. and I'm going to pay for it. And I said, well, why can't I just stay here? And he said, because you're 18. It's time to spread your wings. You're always welcome to come back, anytime. But you need to be living your own life. You need your own boat. And I'll show you how to row. And he did. And college was a disaster. I think I've talked about it on these videos. When we were in Europe, and I was going to school, it was the Canadian curriculum. And when I got to Florida, and I went to the junior college, there had been a shift in the way they were teaching people, and they were using what had been my 10th grade textbooks. And I was told in no uncertain terms that there was no spot for me. And I was crushed, devastated. I thought it was because I wasn't good enough. I thought it was because they didn't like me. No. It was because we weren't rowing in the same direction. We were in entirely different boats. Yeah. And I didn't see that for a really long time. Oh, look. Well, good morning, Steve Endicott. How are you? How wonderful. And I know Jeremy's there. I can see his name. And who else do we have? Oh, Domenica and Sean. Oh, how exciting. All right. So we're starting to show up. It's 10:07. People are grabbing their coffee. This is wonderful. For those of you late to the party, you're not really late. I started way early because compulsive. I'm talking about the plan. And the plan is this. I'm announcing today during our 18th video together that I'm going to do a project. And the project is going to be a group book. I'll be leading the group because my boat, because I've done a few books before. And what I'm going to ask for, and we are going to discuss on videos as we move forward, are your contributions to the content of this book. And anyone who decides that they want to play, they want to be in the game, we'll put your face on the back and a bio on you on the inside, and we will credit you with inspiring me with I can't believe I did that twice, or whatever. So that's the plan. And I'm going to give you a couple of examples of the kinds of things that I think are going to be a lot of fun in doing this. Is that a life hack isn't necessarily a success. A life hack is what we tried when plan A and B weren't working. So the story I want to tell you is about me cooking. And before I tell you the story about me cooking, it dawned on me this morning, because keen but slow, that before I joined the cast of You Can't Live on Television, the running gag that Mom couldn't cook didn't exist. No, it didn't. If you look back at what year was it when Ruth Buzzy was playing Mom? Was it in 1980? Okay. So, hapless mom in the kitchen was not her character. No, I realized that Roger Price, the brilliant producer and writer and creator of You Can't Live on Television, was sitting there listening to me telling, every most recent disaster that had befallen me in the kitchen. He was creating the mom character around that, because talk about free content. And would I know how to pull it off? Sure. Just show up. No acting required. I've just seen something. Sean Benjamin, I watched you all my young years. Honey, you're watching me now. Hello. Now you're watching me. And what is it? John, are you really live? John, I'm going to nod my head if I'm really live. Ready? That's the airhead really live. And what is it you just said, Jeremy? See my face, deal breaker? Please, we'll do a caricature. I have all kinds of brilliant artists I know. All right, back to the story. Roger listening to me making all these horrific mistakes and managing not to poison myself and everyone around me, wrote all these things for me. So there was this one time when I invited a couple of friends of mine over to my brand new apartment that I had acquired after the catastrophic breakup of whatever it was I thought was going to be a forever after situation. And I said, come over for dinner. Bring wine. Bring lots of wine. And then did I mention bring wine? So I made them this dinner that how can you ruin this? And with it I thought, oh God, I have to make potatoes. I can't make potatoes. Potatoes and I are not compatible. I'm not sure why. Well, I know why, actually, because I'm not Irish. I'm a Viking. We didn't really do potatoes. We did fish. So somebody said to me, oh, listen, I have the absolute foolproof hack for fabulous mashed potatoes. I said, good, what is it? And I picked up a pen and I'm ready to write it down. And she said, you just use a hand mixer. Really? Yeah. Just, and you got potatoes. Like that. A little butter, a little milk, you're done. And I said, oh, alrighty then, boys and girls. So I did that. At least I thought I did that. A little butter, a little milk, you're done. And I said, oh, alrighty then, boys and girls. So I did that. At least I thought I did that. A little butter, a little milk, put it in the hand mixer. And curiously, the potatoes went from the potato state, which is sort of the, an assortment of lumps, to wallpaper paste without any in-between stage. Just zzz. And I looked at that and I thought, that's wrong, and I don't think that's going to thicken. It's like, leaned the pot and the potatoes all went and I'm looking at the clock and it's like 5 minutes, and I'd known this couple for a long time and they love me dearly, and I love them dearly in spite of the fact that I knew that they were never going to let me live it down. Because those are the kinds of people I love the best. So I'm looking, I'm pulling open all the drawers and the thing under the oven where you keep stuff when you don't realize that's a warming bin. Who knew? And I saw this pie plate and I thought, maybe if I pour the potatoes, boy, there's an expression. She pours the potatoes into this pie plate, and I don't know, put something on top that looks good, like cheese or something, and I put it under the broiler. At the very least, the top will be crunchy, right? And so I did that, and I did it for I'm looking at the clock. It's now 3 minutes. So I did it for like a minute, and then I opened the oven, and oh my God, it looked gorgeous. It looked fabulous, darling. It looked like somebody knew what they were doing. And so I oven mitts, and I pulled it out, and I thought, wow. So I just, dug into the side of it a little bit so I didn't, mash it all up. And I took a tiny spoonful, and you know what they tasted like? Wallpaper paste. Worse, they tasted like grits without any of the nuance and charm. And I thought, oh, well. So like, ding, doorbell. Okay. So I put them on a thing, and I opened the door, and they're standing there, and she says, something smells good. And I said, I know. And I grabbed one and poured this on. And when they sat down, I said, okay, so I have a confession to make. And I hope you won't mind that I took the liberty. But since I love you and you know me so well, I kind of went out on a limb tonight, and I made a very, very old Viking potato recipe as a side dish. I mean, there's other stuff, so it's not like we're going to starve. And it's not for everyone. It's not for everyone. And if you don't like it, you don't need to tell me that I'm consigned to hell, but don't feel that you have to eat it, really, because I just took a gamble. I took a risk. And I sat there, and they careful little spoonfuls on their plate along with everything else, and they took a thing. And then they both said the most extraordinary thing. They both said, oh, well, isn't this fabulous? And I thought, fool me once. And I said, really? You think so? Oh, yes. So how do you make this? And I said, well, secrets, recipe secrets, what can I say? And my Viking ancestors will, destroy me if I give it away. So while they're eating and they're putting more on their plate, like, can we have more? Sure. And while they're eating, I took another thing, and you know what? It still tasted exactly like it had tasted before. I thought, I have no idea what's just happened here, but I'm grateful that I didn't offend everyone. So, the moral of the story is, with a certain amount of elan and a whole bunch of nuance, we can carry off a lot. And in fact, a lot of people who are in charge of a lot of things are doing exactly that. Exactly that. So I said, well, it's cold. And I'm not going out in that. I'm going to do something else. I'm going to do something fun in the cold weather. And February is Sweetheart Month. So why don't we start with a sweetheart plan? We're going to do a book. And we're going to have fun with it. And we're going to share all the life hacks that are insanely funny and sometimes worked. Because I have no end of them. And I'm sure it's the same with you. Crazy things that your mother or your grandmother or your mother-in-law or crazy Aunt Susan did, we can include those. We just make sure that nobody can sue you for, outing them. And it'll be a wonderful first book in a series. Now, the reason I want to do this is because I want everyone I'm inviting to join me on this journey to experience what it's like to actually be in the boat, to help me build the boat, to help me find the best direction for us and go there. In these uncertain times, which by the way is every day, it's a convenient phrase right now. Every day the rules change. Every day. We thought it was going to be fabulous. We booked a pool and a party. It's raining. Plan B? No. Didn't you create a plan B? I see. So then I guess we're going to get wet. Well, we're going to get wet anyway in the pool, right? Lots of things are changing, and they're changing very quickly. And for some of us, that's a surprise, because we were going at a slower pace. As we went at that slower pace, it didn't occur to us that we have these cell phones that are mini computers, and with them we can connect with people and play games with people and send messages to people and blackmail people all over the world. Instead, most of the time, we use these magical things to post pictures of our cats or cat attachments on our heads. And because we're leaning into it at our own pace, except that the pace is accelerating. Everything is accelerating. I saw something on the news yesterday, and more than other things that I saw, it made me think, I need to be part of changing the narrative, at least the ripple effects of the narrative that are touching me. Because what I'm hearing is unhelpful. And what the person said was, I don't really care why they're doing it. I just want things to be the way they used to be. And I thought, okay. And people have said that for generations. And when we're sane, we know that's not possible. We know that's not the way it works. We can dream, we can wish, but we still have to get up in the morning and get to work. We still have to figure out all kinds of things because it's our life we're living. Think of all the stuff that's easier now. you can, if you can afford it, you can have a car that parks itself. The person who said, I just want things to be the way they were, really? You want to parallel park your own boat? Okay. I just want things to be the way they used to be. Well, how far back do we want to go? Do we want before indoor plumbing? Do we want before light bulbs? Do we want before the time when you could just flick a switch and the heat came on? Do we all want to go camping forever again? Not me. Camping is an interesting thing to do briefly, but I would like to come home and sleep in a bed that's soft. And there aren't bears immediately. So if we're going to move forward, and we're going to move forward at a pace that we feel works for us strategically, then what we have to do is build the boat and build a team that wants to do that too. I'm a military brat, in case anyone doesn't know that. I spent all of my childhood recalibrating and navigating. All of it, all of my childhood. As an adult, I continued to do it for a long time. Even after my dad left the military and I wasn't forced to move, I kept moving. Every couple of years I'd think, well, it's time for a change. And if I didn't repaint the entire inside of where I was living or get all new furniture, then I was finding someplace else to live. Why? Because that's what I felt like I needed to be doing. I needed to be ahead of the breaking wave. It took me a really long time to realize that I could set my own pace. So where I am now is in a place where I don't have an agent. I had an agent who didn't know what to do with me and walked away because I wanted too many things, because my vision was farther. I could see the horizon and where I wanted to be. And that agent wasn't willing to go there with me. I didn't realize that at the time. In fact, when I was talking to Jeremy the other day, I didn't realize it even then. And that was like yesterday or the day before. I don't realize that people aren't willing to get in the boat and row with me because I'm too busy rowing and waving and saying, come on, it's going to be fabulous. Paris, Fashion Week, let's go. So I feel that this book we're going to do, that I'm going to guide, is going to be the qualifying round. As a very, very clever Viking filmmaker said to me not long ago, Valkyrie, you realize that Vikings had to qualify to get in the boat, right? And I said, yeah. And then we laughed for a long time. Because no, I didn't. I did, but I thought they were qualified. I thought they were qualifying when they said yes. No. They had to be tested. Everyone has to be tested. If you don't get tested, you don't know if you passed. Interesting metaphor for everything in life, really. So this is the deal. I have a production company. I formed it 2 years ago. It's called Story Me TV. It's predicated on the idea that all these fabulous projects that I have copyright to can be produced anywhere, on any platform, anytime. Because I know all the people who can make that happen. What I need is a family. What I need is a tribe. What I need is an active, participating audience who loves the idea that they're going to be part of the ride. So one of the sections in my production company is called fanfare. Fanfare is not just cheering from the sidelines. Fanfare is the stuff the fans create, and they get the credit for. And their name is on the slate. That's my intention that we all get there together. We all row to see what's on the other side of the horizon. But to get there, I have to know that you want to be there. You want to do that. So, we're going to do this book. It's going to be a sweetheart project. It's going to start next week in Valentine month. And I don't know, I'm thinking, I see Fame is 300 and something pages. And I had 250 color photographs inside. We're not going to do that because, you know, this isn't about our fame. This is about our ideas. We will have pictures or caricatures or cartoon versions of us. What are they called? Avatars of us. For those who don't want their face out there. And we're going to say, look, this is the beginning. This is where it all started. That's my plan. And if you don't want to, if you just want to buy the book, if you just want to watch us do it, it's fabulous. Bring wine. Cheer us on from the sidelines. So how this is going to unfold is that I'm going to continue to do these lovely live kind of unscripted moments twice a week on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And I'm going to use life hacks and stories from my life to illustrate points that I'm making. And I'm also going to introduce the themes and the ideas and the recipes and train wrecks and invite people to talk about them. And I'll be giving you all a way to get in touch with me, and we're going to work together remotely, because that's what village people who live in a galaxy do. We connect from starship to starship, from planet to planet, from country to country. Isn't that cool? So, I have one last story that I want to share with you. Another cooking story. And I barely have enough time, but I think it's important. And I'm doing this instead of answering immediately because I want to keep this flow going, and I promise you that as soon as we're done, I'm going to hello and blow kisses and respond to all the comments that are coming up, and I so appreciate it. And I promise we'll get back to it properly next week. Okay. So here's the other story. I wrote a show. Based on the life of the wittiest woman in America in her day, and I think even now. Her name is Dorothy Parker. And basically, I said to myself, if I could just become her in front of people and not mess up, there would be a certain amount of osmosis. There would be a certain amount of belief that I was at least smart enough to recognize how witty she was, and people would probably enjoy it. And it worked, by the way. There was a happy after. There was a producer in the audience who called me the next day and asked if I would like a television series. And I said, do you pay money? And they said, yes. I said, I'll be right over. And that was really how the whole career began. But what I want to tell you about this story was that a couple of friends of mine who were, just amazing pals, came to stay with me and go to the show. And so I had made dinner, because I thought I could make dinner the day of the night of my first solo written show, because I'm out of my mind. And I blew it. I took it out of the oven, I put it on top of the stove, and then I turned on the element to make coffee, and I didn't realize that the element I had turned on was the element underneath the Pyrex dish that dinner was in. And I walked down the hall, and count 3, 2, 1, the doorbell rang, and something in the kitchen went boom. And I opened the door, and my girlfriend said, "You look fabulous. Is that dinner?" And I said, "No, actually. I have a different plan." And then the three of us walked down the hall, and dinner was all over the four walls, ceiling, and floor. and the husband partner reached in carefully and turned off the stove. and we went out and ate whatever it was. All I can remember is that it was brown, because I was so focused on the show. So, as easily as that, as quickly as that, there are life hacks and situations that I can recall because my life has been one train wreck after another. And I know I'm not alone. And I think that if we do this together, if you and I come up with all of the stories we hope nobody would know and bravely publish them, it will be a magnificent journey we take together and a really great first step on this awesome vision I have for the magic we're going to create as we move forward. I hope you love it. I really hope you love it, because I'm just over the moon about it. Now, before I go, there's two things I need to say. Yes, there are flashing lights on my boa. Doesn't everyone have, doesn't everyone have flashing lights on their boa? I consider them to be takeoff lights as opposed to landing lights because we're on our way. The second thing I want to say is I'm so thrilled that you're joining me these days. I'm delighted that you make the time, prioritize the opportunity to watch me live. I'm excited beyond words. Steve Endicott, I did that same thing with an apple pie once. See? There we go. There's Steve's chapter right there. I'm so excited that you're watching me evolve from is this thing on to all right, here's the plan, because it's magical. And I hope you can feel it the way I can feel it. Because this is where the adrenaline rush comes from. It's not from us sitting crowded together in the stands. It's from connecting thought to thought, heart to heart. That's where it's from, and that's where it's going. All right, so the weekend is upon us. It's fucking cold, so wear your fur-lined boas and be good to you. Hug your loved ones. Like this, tell your friends, share it. When you have time, go on YouTube, Abby Haggard, YouTube, and subscribe. I need more people there. I need more members of this, because we will stay on Facebook, but we will also go on YouTube and probably Patreon in time, so that we have more platforms for people to find us. Okay? So we need to help build the tribe, and I know you can do that for me. All right? I guess the only thing left for me to say until Tuesday is be good to you. I mean that. Be good to you.